you switched from math to engineering, so still pretty intense classes. Did you get some advice about
Yeah.
having like a balanced schedule so you weren't super overwhelmed?
Oh, yeah. So I actually just started the process for switching to engineering. Like, one thing I do want to mention is it's okay if you don't know what you want to do, because I feel like I've definitely gone down that route, and it's definitely like a learning experience. And I just want to like let you know, like whatever path you take, just know that it's okay to not know what major you want to be, or like what career path you want to take at age 18, 19, because
Mhm.
no one really knows. Like personally, like the more I learned about the major at my college, the more I realized like it's not something I want to do. Uh, and so I chose civil engineering. I found it more. I did research and talked to different people, and so I started the change in major process at my college, and it's essentially how it works. I'm pretty sure it's similar to other colleges as well. Like you just have to take certain classes. So, for example, taking a few civil engineering classes, and they expect me to get no lower than a C in each of them, and maintain a certain GPA,
Mm.
and that's how I can switch. So like the process isn't too bad. You just have to put in like the work in order to switch. Uh, so I signed my contract last, what was it? Oh, last quarter. So as of winter quarter, so last quarter, um, I took a couple engineering classes, and I'm taking more engineering classes as well to fulfill my contract, and then I'm able to switch. And personally, like um, after like coworkers and the different like people I've met, it's okay to like take longer than 4 years. I know like universities try to squish uh, your education into 4 years. You can see here, this is my flow chart. So like students at my college would use this to kind of in 4 years. Times we have like work more than usually, or we have like other things going on in our lives that make it more difficult to take all these. See, you see that units per quarter is like 15 to 17, considering the fact that if you're gonna work, or if you have like other things going on, then I think it's a pretty stressful scheduling. Went through that as well, like my spring quarter my first year, and the fall quarter my second year. Like I had a lot of like things going on during those times, and I think taking 17 units was definitely like really rigorous, and I thought it was better to just take less units, better grades, than taking a whole bunch of classes and getting like mediocre grades, if not like some bad grades here and there. So um I'm taking a fifth year at my college, so my work intense. So and now I think it gives me more room to like work, and I'm also interested in I'm not sure which one yet, but it also gives me room for that as well. I'm pretty sure every college has like their little like flow charts for every major, but they're always going to try to squeeze in everything into 4 years. But if you feel like your major, or if you feel like you want to span out uh your your college, the time at your college more, you can just always plan that out. And for my college at Cal Poly, I think I was pretty fortunate enough scheduled for me. Like I didn't have to worry about getting into classes that were hard to get into. Like I know, for example, like at my college, is a really impacted course at my school, and like for example, like being blocked into that course. By blocked meaning like the school schedules it for so you're automatically enrolled to do anything. And then like as they slowly teach you like all these different registration tools, and like I now at my college I work as a student at my general advising center, and I'm really up to date with all the different changes and all the registration tools.
You're right about, giving yourself some time to explore and learn. What I think is valuable have mentioned is the fact that if you can, find alternatives, like a community college or, in the case of having AP exams to help you complete requirements, that's fantastic, and that gives you more time to explore, pick up a minor.
The intensity of community college classes are about the same as for like universities. I think they definitely prepare you for like whatever you attend. So like I just strongly recommend taking community college classes if you're in high school. I think I discovered that a little late, like my senior year, I think. So I strongly recommend it. It helps you get more credits.
Yeah, I second that. I was so scared to do, I should have done middle college, honestly. That would have helped a lot, but everything happens for a reason. Definitely don't be scared to take college, community college courses because, like also said, they're the same thing. If not, like even better because you get that support that a classroom of 200 students don't get. You get that one-on-one, you get that community, and you get attention from your professors. And they're very, at least at Kenyatta, they're also nice and they're so willing to help you out with like the smallest problem or the biggest problem. And I feel that um, at a UC or a CSU or whatever private institution, it can go differently. There could even be what is it called, like when they try to average like grades or something like that. I don't know, I forgot the name, but
You mean to grade on a
basically,
curve or?
yeah, that. And so that could either make or break you, and at Kenyatta at least there's no like curve in a sense that everything you get the highest grade that you could possibly get, which is a great opportunity that not a lot of other four-year colleges give.
You echoed my advice to plan ahead, and Andrea and Carol, you two, talking about asking the questions. We know that sometimes students have been delayed in graduation because they didn't realize one of their requirements wasn't offered that year or that semester, so they had to spend an extra semester to fulfill their college requirement. So it's good that you're encouraging everybody to ask questions and check in with people and get their advice. One other thing that a lot of people don't realize is that you can ask the department if you can substitute another course, maybe even in a different
Yeah.
department for a requirement. They're not going to advertise it, but you definitely want to ask about it because that could help you save time to graduation or find something else that's interesting to you.
No, yeah, like adding on to what you just said. I mean, I don't know. I've had a little bit of like a different experience than what Carol like said. Like as far as like I've been involved, like my professors and my advisors have actually been like really helpful for the most
Great.
part. Like especially like when it comes to like my major, like my communications ones, like I know I had one last semester that she like really like made sure she tried to keep us on track because a lot of the people doing that course were like focused on like the major. And then as far as my advisors, they've actually been really vocal about like there's a lot of courses that people don't realize that like can double for your GE requirements. So there's like, let's say you need to fulfill a global studies requirement, and then there's also like there's a course that does that and like it fulfills that one, but it also fulfills like a writing requirement, or it also fulfills
Mm.
like a United States like diversity requirement, which is like some of the ones that I, and like my professors, not my professors, my advisors have actually been like really helpful with like pointing those out to me, especially when it comes to your major. They're like, well, this class, you need it for your major, but it also fulfills like a GE requirement. Like you might want to look into that. So they're never going to like force a course on you, but it's definitely important to like ask questions. And a lot of the times, like, they do want to help you. You shouldn't be like super afraid to like be led on the wrong track to benefit from you like graduating in 4 years. That makes them look better. And like no professor, I mean, as far as like I've had experiences, obviously it's a little like soon for me to talk, but I haven't like had a professor that's like, I'm gonna fail you super harsh. For the most part, they've been really willing to help, like especially during this time, which is like they're super kind. They're always like I just, as far as I've had like professors, they've been like, is everything okay, like are you good, like what can I help you with? And it's a lot also a responsibility on you to be like, okay, I'm struggling, let me go find tutoring, let me go to office hours, which I've had to do a couple times, and it's really not like scary, it's not bad. If you need it, you need the help. Like getting help is a really, really, really good and essential part of college.
To get your advice on how to manage their time and how to study. So, whoever would like to start first on that one, I'd love to know what are your tips for doing well academically and managing your time.
I guess I'll
Andrea, you want to
start.
go?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So It can be like I mentioned earlier, definitely really tough because everything is on you. Like obviously, like you get home, you have your parents pushing you to like make time to study, and you have like your designated little desk spot. What it can be tough, especially when you're living on campus. Like you're on the dorms, you're like you have a roommate, they have a different schedule than you. You know, then they're noisy. Sorry. And then your schedules can like overlap with like a couple of different things, like you can say. For me, it was mostly about working with whatever schedule you have at that moment. Like if you have an hour in between classes that you want to get some study time in for like a quiz and like do that. And a lot of places, like don't be afraid to go to the library. Like the library is really helpful. Like I'm sure Miss Vasquez has probably like explained to you how there's like different levels if you want to go like work with groups. And then that's another thing, like forming study groups or finding people that like can help you in a specific topic really helps, because there's going to be people that have taken that class before you or are taking it at the same time, and just like being able to balance that out and work with people is really helpful. And then just I would say making a space for yourself if possible, like if you have a little like corner like in your room or whatever that you think is like the best for you to focus in, you know, a specific setting. Or like for me, in my dorms there was like a little study room that I would always go to if I was just like really overwhelmed and needed to like get something focused done, because there are a lot of distractions, and especially when it's like all on you, you really just need to be able to find a specific place and time for you to focus and get your stuff done, and try as hard as it is to just not become distracted and not just say, if you know I have time or whatever, like I can do this instead. Like just really keeping yourself disciplined